Hi there, I'm Aman from DPS Saldwani Lamachor and you're watching PTO classes. So, today I'm back with one more chapter from your beehive. This is the 10th chapter, and after this, we have one last chapter remaining, and in between, two poems will be there, short poems. And this chapter is a very short one, and it is a very easy chapter, not a big story or something like that. It is just a simple short story. Kathmandu, as you can read from the title, it is a place. It is a place there in Nepal. Okay, so if a if the title of a story is on the name of a place, then it is quite obvious that the story will be um, about some journey, some traveling, something like that. Okay, so before we read the story, the author has asked you that do you like traveling? The writer Vikram Seth enjoys it very much. Okay, so here we come to know that the writer is Vikram Seth. Okay, so something I will tell you about Vikram Seth. He is a very renowned Indian author. Okay, and he has written so many good novels. Just a few months back, a movie was released which was based on his novel written back in 19 something 1980s, and the name of the movie was A Suitable Boy. Okay, so uh, this is what his caliber is, that today also his stories are very relevant in today's scenario, in today's world. It makes some sense, the things that he have written way back, decades back. Okay, so Vikram Seth is one such Indian writer who has written many great novels and short stories. So in his book Heaven Lake, he describes a long journey from China to India. Okay, so one of his book's name is Heaven Lake. Okay, and he has described a very long journey in that book from China to India and via Tibet and Nepal. Okay, so he has talked about his journey from China to way back to India, and in the course of that journey, he has been to Tibet and Nepal. So have you heard? Sorry, have you heard of places like Ajmer Sharif? Okay, Madurai, Sanchi, Varanasi, Sarnath, or Helibit. So all these names uh, are how they are common, first of all, and can you name some other places? So why these names are common? Because all these places are religious places. Okay, so all the places have something that is very pious. Okay, they are a hub of pilgrimage, and all the people go there to worship. Okay, so can you name some other places like this? If can, then you can do so. You can write it in your notebook. What do the surroundings of a holy place in a city look like? Okay, so the author further asks you that what do the surroundings of a holy place, like the places above, the uh, holy places are given Ajmer Sharif, Madurai, and all. So, what do a holy place in our locality look like? Okay, the surroundings of the whole holy place looks like. Think about it as you read Vikram Seth's description of Kathmandu. Okay, so Vikram Seth has written about Kathmandu, and now what you have to do, you have to write about your own place. This work I am going to assign you. Okay, I get a cheap room in the center of town and sleep for hours. Okay, so the author starts that I get a cheap room in the center of town and sleep for hours. The next morning, with Mr. Shah's son, and nephew, I visit the two temples in Kathmandu that are most sacred to Hindus and Buddhists. Okay, so he starts by saying that I got a very cheap room and in the center of the town, and I slept for hours. Then some Mr. Shah is there, whose son and nephew are there, and with them I visited two temples in Kathmandu. One is sacred to Hindu, and the other to Buddhist. So, which one for Hindus? Now see, at Pashupatinath, this is for Hindus, outside which a sign proclaims entrance for the Hindus only. Okay, so Pashupatinath Mandir, that is there, and outside this temple, what is written? Entrance for the Hindus only. There is an atmosphere of febrile confusion. Febrile confusion means hurried activity, chaotic activity. Priests, hawkers, devotees, tourists, cows, monkeys, pigeons, and dogs roam through the grounds. Okay, all these you have to mark. All these were roaming here and there and creating a fuss. We offer a few flowers. There are so many worshippers that some people trying to get the priest attention. Okay, many are there and elbowed aside by others pushing their way to the front. So there are many and they all are pushing through each other and they want the priest attention. Why does a person go to a temple to preach, and who is there to help him? Who is there who acts as a messenger of the god? Priest. Okay, so a princess of the Nepalese royal house appears. Everyone bows and makes way. By the main gate, a party of saffron clad Westerners struggle for permission to enter. Saffron clad means uh, Bhagwadhari, all who were having the saffron clothes, and they all were Westerners, they all were foreigners, and they were struggling to get inside the temple. The policeman is not convinced that they are Hindus. Only Hindus are allowed to enter the temple. So, as it was written outside the Pashupatinath temple, only Hindus were allowed. A fight breaks out between two monkeys. Okay, one more thing happened. Fight broke out between two monkeys. One chases the other, who jumps onto a Shivalinga, then runs screaming round the temple and down to the river. So one is chasing the other is jumping through the shivling, and a fight is going on between the two monkeys. Westerners are struggling to get inside the temple. So this is what is happening. The holy river Bagmati is there. This is a very beautiful river. Uh, the holy river Bagmati is there that flows below. A corpse is being cremated on its banks. Okay, so cremation work is also going on. These all incidents you have to mark because these are very important. Washerwomen are at their work and children bathe. Okay, bathe is the past participle of bath. From a balcony, a basket of flowers and old offerings and leaves, old offerings now wilted, is dropped into the river. Okay, from a balcony, people are throwing flowers, and washerwomen are at their work, children are bathing, and a small shrine, half protrude means it is coming out from the stone platform on the river bank. Okay, this is what the narrator is describing the the scene of the situation, the place Pashupatinath, how it is looking. When it emerges fully, the goddess inside will escape and the evil period of the Kali Yuga will end on earth. So it is a belief that when the small shrine will come out totally, then the Kali Yuga will end on earth. Okay. At the Bodhnath Stupa, the Buddhist shrine of Kathmandu, there is in contrast a sense of stillness. Okay, so at the Bodhnath Stupa, the Buddhist shrine is there. There is a contrast, a sense of stillness. Everyone is very still. Its immense white dome is ringed by a road. Okay, so Buddhist place is quite different, totally different from the Pashupatinath temple, the Bodhnath Stupa. Very calm. Its immense white dome is ringed by a road. Small shops stand on its outer edge. Many of these are owned by Tibetan immigrants. Felt bags, sorry, Tibetan prints, and silver jewelry can be brought here. Okay, this is the scene at the Buddhist site. There are no crowds. This is a heaven of quietness in the busy streets around. Here, heaven doesn't mean that heaven. Here, heaven means a safe place. So, what is the difference between Buddhist and the Hindus place? Hindus place is very crowded, and the Buddhist place is less crowded, and a very calm sort of environment is there. It also tells that Buddhists are less and the Hindus are more. That is why it can be. Kathmandu is vivid, mercenary, religious, with small shrines to flower adorned deities, along with the narrowest and busiest streets with fruit sellers, flute sellers, hawkers of postcards, shops selling Western cosmetics, film rolls, and chocolate, or copper utensils and Nepalese antiques. Okay, all these are being sold in the street of Kathmandu. You can note them down, you can write them down, you can mark them down. Film songs blare out from the radios, car horns sound, bicycle bell ring, stray cows low questioningly at motorcycles. Okay, so stray cows are looking at the motorcycles, the car horns are there, bicycle rings are there, and film songs are being blared from the radios. So many things are being sold. Vendors shout out their wares. Okay, they are trying to sell. This is the site of the Buddhist stupa. Okay, the Bodhnath Stupa at the Buddhist place of worship, the Bodhnath Stupa. The white dome you can see as it was mentioned in the story. Okay, and the vendors are shouting out their wares. They are trying to sell their goods. I indulge. Okay, the author further says that I indulge myself mindlessly by a bar of marzipan. Marzipan is a sweet made with grated almond, a kind of chocolate. This marzipan we have read in grade 8th also in the chapter the best Christmas gift I remember. Okay, a corn on the cob roasted in a charcoal brazier on the pavement, rubbed with salt, chili powder, and lemon. Okay, these are all the ingredients that are there in the corn. He ate a marzipan and then he ate a corn, which is rubbed with chili powder and lemon, as we eat around in Haldwani also. A couple of love story, comics, and even a Reader's Digest. All this I washed down with Coca Cola and a now sitting means sickening orange drink. The orange drink he must have had somewhere. And all this, he read a love story comic, he read a Reader's Digest. These things he wrote, sorry, not wrote, read, and he had that butta and that marzipan and that Coca Cola, and he had one disgusting orange drink also. I consider what route I should take back home if I were propelled by enthusiasm for travel per se. I would go by bus and train to Patna. So he is now making his plans for coming back to India. So he's planning the route and he's saying that I will take a bus and train to Patna. Then sail up the Ganges past Benares to Allahabad, then up the Yamuna past Agra to Delhi. But I am too exhausted and homesick. Okay. Today is the last day of August. Go home, I tell myself, move directly towards home. I enter a Nepal Airlines office and buy a ticket for tomorrow's flight. So, see, earlier he was planning that I will go by bus and train to Patna and so and so. From Nepal, it is easily accessible. But now he's more in a hurry and he decided to go with a airline. I look at the flute seller standing in a corner of the square near the hotel, in his hand in a pole with an attachment at the top from which 50 or 60 bansuris protrude. Protrude were means coming out in all directions like the quills of a porcupine. Okay, like there are the quills in the porcupine, they were coming out from that long pole. They are of bamboo, they are cross flutes and recorders. From time to time, he stands the pole on the ground, selects a flute, and plays for a few minutes. Sound rises clearly above the noise of the traffic and the hawkers' cries. Okay, so sound is all over there, and the hawkers are there. Hawkers are crying. Crying doesn't mean crying, they are shouting. He plays slowly, meditatively, without excessive display. He does not shout out his wares. Occasionally, he makes a sale, but in a curiously off-handed way, as if this were incidental to his enterprise. Okay, so the flute seller is not bothered about the money or anything. He's not shouting like other vendors. He's just quietly playing sometimes his flute, and he is very relaxed. And sometimes he breaks off playing to talk to the fruit seller. I imagine that this has been the pattern of his life for years. Okay, so the narrator feels, the author feels that this is how the man would have worked for all his life. I find it difficult to tear myself away from the squire. Okay, I find very difficult to go away from the flute sound. Flute music always does this to me. It is at once the most universal and most particular of sounds. This is no culture that does not have its flute. The reed, nay, the recorder, the Japanese shakuhachi, the deep bansuri of Hindustani classical music, all these are very beautiful sounds and very relaxing, very soothing. The clear or broody flutes of South America. So he's mentioning a number of sounds that he likes. The high pitched Chinese flutes, each has its specific fingering and compass. Compass means range. Here it means range. Fingering means way of placing the fingers on the instrument. It waves its own associations. Yet to hear any flute is, it seems to me, to be drawn into the commonality of all mankind, to be moved by music closest in its phrases and sentences to the human voice. Its motive force too is living breath. Okay, so the meaning of any music, the sorry, not the meaning, uh, what is the purpose of the music that is played? Why do we listen to music? We listen to music to calm ourselves, to relax, whatever mood we want. We are partying, then also we want some refreshment, um, something to cheer up, something to relax. When we are sad, then also we are relaxing in a sense. We are just calming ourselves down. So music is something that will always be like this. That I can be so affected by new familiar phrases on the basuri surprises me at first. For on the previous occasions that I have returned home after a long absence abroad, I have hardly noticed such details and certainly have not invested them with the significance I now do. Okay, so the narrator says that I've been to a lot of places, I've been traveling, but the way I felt this time is it's cannot be compared to anything because of the sound of the bansuri, because of of the music, because of the calmness. I am very calm down now. I'm very relaxed now. I'm in a soothing state of mind now. So this is what the author says. Author wants to express through the story that how the journey was, and it is a short um, story taken from the big novel. Okay, and it is an extract from the story, the novel Heaven Lake, written by Vikram Seth, of course. So this is what he has described that Kathmandu looked like, the Pashupatinath temple, how it was there, the Bodhnath temple, how it was there. So you have to read that very well. The Pashupatinath temple surrounding, how it was, the atmosphere there, and the Bodhnath temple. Both of them you have to read and you have to compare. And this is a question also, I suppose. So here the story concludes. I hope that you have enjoyed the story, a very simple story, not very complicated one, just a description of the journey that the the author had, and you have to keep in mind the things that he has written about Pashupatinath and about the Bodhnath Stupa, and all in all, the journey to the place Kathmandu and how the Kathmandu is like. Okay, so here the story concludes. Now you have to do the question answers of the story and the word meanings that are there in the book. I am Aman from DPS Silvani Lamachor. You are watching video classes. Thank you so much for watching the lecture.